Before I begin, I want you to stop, take a breath, and truly listen, because what I'm about to say was not meant for everyone. It was meant for you. There are souls walking this earth who carry a light so rare, so powerful, that the universe itself bends toward them. And if you are here right now, if something called you to this moment, then you already know you are one of them. But here is what no one warns the chosen ones about. The moment your light gets brighter, something else gets darker. The moment your path gets clearer, a shadow starts to follow it. And that shadow wears a face you trust. Today we are going to talk about something that the chosen ones feel deeply in their soul, but are afraid to speak out loud. That quiet voice inside you that says, something is not right. That feeling in your chest when you look at this person and think, why does this not feel like love? Why does this feel like a trap? You are not paranoid. You are not overthinking. You are not too sensitive. You are right. And today, I am going to prove it to you. Before I begin, I want you to close your eyes for just a moment. Asterisk, asterisk. Imagine you are standing at a crossroads. The wind is still, the sky is quiet, and somewhere deep inside your chest, there is a feeling, not loud, not dramatic. Just a quiet, steady pulse, like a heartbeat, that knows something your mind is still trying to deny. You have felt this before. You have felt it in the middle of a conversation when something someone said didn't quite add up. You have felt it at 2 in the morning when you couldn't sleep and you didn't know why. You have felt it when you looked into the eyes of a certain person and just for a split second you saw something that made your soul flinch. And what did you do with that feeling? You pushed it down. You told yourself you were being irrational. You said, maybe I'm just tired. Maybe I'm just stressed. Maybe I'm reading too much into things. And you smiled. You showed up. You kept giving. You kept trusting. Because that is what chosen ones do. They give people the benefit of the doubt, even when the doubt is screaming. But here is what I need you to understand today. That feeling, that quiet, persistent, almost uncomfortable nudge in the deepest part of your being, that is not anxiety. That is not fear. That is not your past trauma talking. That is God. That is the universe. That is your highest self standing at the edge of your consciousness, waving its arms, trying to get your attention before it is too late. The chosen ones are not chosen because their lives are easy. They are chosen because they carry an extraordinary sensitivity, a spiritual radar that most people on this earth will never develop. You were given the gift of discernment, the ability to feel what others cannot see, the ability to sense a lie before it is even fully spoken, the ability to walk into a room and immediately know what kind of energy is living inside it. This is not a coincidence. This is not luck. This is divine architecture. You were built this way on purpose, because you were going to need it. And yet, the cruelest irony of being a chosen one is that the very gift designed to protect you is the same gift you have been taught to silence. From the time you were young, someone told you that you were too sensitive. Someone told you that you were overreacting. Someone made you feel like your instincts were a problem to be managed rather than a power to be trusted. And so you learned to mute yourself. You learned to second-guess yourself. You learned to ask for evidence before you allowed yourself to believe what you already knew. And that is exactly where this person found you. Not when you were weak, not when you were broken. They found you in that precise moment of self-doubt, that tiny crack between what you felt and what you allowed yourself to believe, and they slipped right through it. They knew that you would question yourself before you questioned them. They knew that your kindness would outlast your suspicion. They knew that your love, your deep, genuine, chosen one love, would make you fight for them even when every sign was telling you to let go. The signs were always there. They were never hidden. The inconsistencies in their words, the moments where their behavior changed just slightly when they thought you weren't paying attention. The way certain topics always seemed to circle back around to your vulnerabilities. The way you always felt just a little smaller after spending time with them, even though you couldn't explain exactly why. The way your energy drained in their presence, but you kept telling yourself it was just a bad day, just a rough season, just something you needed to work through together. But chosen one, let me ask you something that I need you to sit with. How many bad days make a pattern? How many rough seasons make a truth? How many times does your soul have to whisper the same warning before you finally give it permission to be heard? The sign you keep ignoring is not new. It has been there since the beginning. And some part of you, the deepest, most honest part of you, has known exactly what it meant from the very first moment you felt it. I want you to think about the most powerful thing you have ever seen in nature. Maybe it is lightning, the way it splits the sky without asking permission. Maybe it is the ocean, the way it moves with a force that no wall can permanently hold back. Maybe it is the sun, the way it rises every single morning without fail, without doubt, without anyone's approval. Now I want you to ask yourself something. Have you ever seen lightning strike a field of dry, dead grass? Have you ever seen a storm chase after still, stagnant water? Have you ever seen a predator waste its energy hunting something that has nothing left to take? No, you haven't, because that is not how this works. That is not how any of this works. Predators, whether they walk on 4 legs in the wild or 2 legs in your life, do not target the empty. They do not chase the powerless. They do not invest their time, their manipulation, their carefully constructed illusions into someone who has nothing worth taking. They go where the light is. They go where the energy is rich and warm and giving. They go where they can feed the longest on something that keeps replenishing itself. And chosen ones, they replenish. That is both the miracle and the wound. You are not targeted because you are weak. Let me say that again so it reaches every corner of your soul. You are not targeted because you are weak. You are targeted because you are extraordinary. Because your capacity for love is something most people on this earth will spend their entire lives searching for and never find. Because your loyalty runs so deep that even when you are being mistreated, you find a reason to stay. Because your light is so consistent, so warm, so genuine, that it becomes the most valuable thing in the room to someone who has none of their own. This is the burden that no one prepares the chosen ones for. Everyone tells you that your gifts are beautiful. Everyone celebrates your empathy, your intuition, your ability to see the good in people even when the evidence suggests otherwise. But no one sits you down and says, those same gifts make you a target. Those same qualities that make you someone's greatest blessing also make you someone else's greatest opportunity. The people who come for chosen ones are not random. They are not careless. They do not stumble into your life by accident and then accidentally drain you. There is a pattern. There is always a pattern. And if you look back, truly look back with honest eyes, you will see it running through your history like a thread. The same kind of energy wearing different faces. The same kind of dynamic dressed up in different circumstances. The same opening move, the same escalation, the same slow erosion of your sense of self, just with a different name and a different story. Because people who carry darkness are drawn to people who carry light, the way moths are drawn to a flame, not to warm themselves, not to grow alongside you. But because your light exposes something in them they cannot face alone, and so instead of doing the internal work, they try to own the light source. They try to control it. They try to dim it just enough so that you are still useful, but no longer dangerous to their illusions. And here is the most painful part of all of this. The chosen ones, because of their depth, because of their spiritual sensitivity, because of that extraordinary capacity for compassion, are often the last to see it happening to themselves. You can see it in other people's lives with painful clarity. You can sit with a friend and within minutes identify exactly what is being done to them and why. But when it is you, when it is your heart on the line, that same clarity gets clouded by hope, by history, by the version of this person you believed in before you saw who they truly were. You keep asking yourself, what did I do wrong? How did I miss this? Why does this keep happening to me? But chosen one, you are asking the wrong questions. The real question is not what you did wrong. The real question is, what do you carry that was so valuable, so magnetic, so undeniably powerful, that someone decided the only way they could have it was to take it from you without your full consent? There is a kind of theft that leaves no fingerprints. It does not break down your door. It does not come in the middle of the night with force and violence. It does not announce itself. It does not leave a bruise you can point to or a wound you can show someone and say, look what was done to me. It is quieter than that. It is slower than that. It is so carefully constructed that by the time you realize something has been taken from you, you have already started to believe that you gave it away willingly. This is how they use your light against you. Not by attacking it, not by trying to destroy it from the outside, because they cannot. Your light is not something that can be broken by force. They know that. They understood that about you long before you understood it about them. So instead of attacking the light, they study it, they learn it. They watch the way it moves, the way it responds, the way it reaches out instinctively toward darkness, because that is what light does. It tries to illuminate. And then, with a patience that should frighten you, they position themselves directly in its path and let you shine on them until they have absorbed enough to pass as warm. Think about the beginning. Think about who they were when they first arrived in your life. Think about how seen you felt, how understood. How rare it was to find someone who seemed to speak the exact language of your soul, who knew what to say, when to say it, who seemed to understand your depths without you having to explain yourself. That feeling was real. Your response to it was real. But the performance that created it, that was calculated. Because chosen ones have a very specific emotional signature. You long to be truly known. You have spent so much of your life feeling like you exist on a frequency that most people simply cannot receive, too deep for casual connection, too sensitive for surface-level relationships, too aware for people who prefer comfortable lies. And so when someone comes along who appears to receive you completely, who mirrors your language, your values, your wounds, your dreams, every cell in your body exhales. Finally, someone who sees me. And that exhale, that moment of finally, is the exact moment your light became a tool in their hands. Because now they know what you need. Now they know what makes you feel safe and what makes you feel abandoned. They know which words unlock your trust and which silences make you anxious enough to reach back out. They know how to make you feel chosen because they studied what being unchosen had done to you. They found the tender places, the old disappointments, the quiet fears you had never said out loud to anyone. And they did not hold those things gently the way you hoped. They filed them away, they catalogued them. They kept them ready for the moments when they needed to keep you close, keep you doubting, keep you working just hard enough to earn something that should never have had a price. This is what makes it so devastating for chosen ones. You did not fall for a lie. You fell for a reflection of your own truth. They did not invent something to deceive you. They took what was genuinely yours, your love, your vulnerability, your spiritual depth, your capacity for forgiveness, and they handed it back to you as bait. They spoke your own heart back to you and let you believe it was connection. And so when it starts to shift, when the warmth begins to cool and the understanding begins to feel conditional, and the person who once made you feel so seen begins to make you feel like you are never quite enough, your first instinct is not to question them. Your first instinct is to question yourself. Because how could someone who understood you so completely suddenly make you feel so invisible? It must be something you did. It must be something you are failing to give. It must be something broken in you that is pushing away the one person who ever truly got it. And so you give more, you soften more, you shrink more, you bend yourself into shapes that quietly hurt you because you believe, because they have carefully taught you to believe that the problem lives inside you and the solution lives in becoming whatever they need you to become in this particular moment. And your light, that extraordinary, divine, irreplaceable light that was never meant to be owned by anyone, slowly begins to pour itself in the direction they choose, at the volume they allow, toward the purposes they have decided, while you stand there exhausted and confused, wondering why something that once felt so full has started to feel so impossibly empty. There is a moment that does not look like a miracle when it is happening. It does not arrive with trumpets. It does not come wrapped in certainty or confidence or the clean cinematic clarity that you imagined it would have. It comes quietly, It comes in the middle of an ordinary Tuesday, or at the end of a conversation that finally went one step too far, or in a silent moment when you are sitting alone and something inside you, that same voice you have been silencing for months, maybe years, speaks so clearly and so firmly that this time you cannot pretend you did not hear it. And in that moment, you make a decision. Not a loud decision, not a dramatic one. Just a quiet, trembling, terrifying decision to finally choose yourself. And the moment you do, everything changes. Not immediately in the way the world can see. Not immediately in the way that feels like relief or victory or the freedom you imagined. In fact, in the very first moments after you walk away, everything might feel worse. The silence might feel unbearable. The absence of even a painful dynamic might feel like losing something, because your nervous system has been so conditioned to the chaos that peace feels foreign, and foreign feels like danger. You might second-guess yourself 100 times in the first hour. You might reach for your phone. You might replay every good memory and wonder if you made a mistake. You might feel the pull so strongly that staying away requires every ounce of spiritual strength you have ever been asked to carry. But chosen one, do not mistake that pain for a sign that you were wrong. That pain is not evidence that you should go back. That pain is the sound of something that was never healthy, finally being released from your body. That pain is the withdrawal. And withdrawal only happens when something had its hooks in you. And hooks, real hooks, only go into things worth holding onto. What begins to happen after you walk away is not always visible in the first days or even the first weeks, but it is happening. Underneath the grief, underneath the confusion, underneath the strange guilt that chosen ones always carry for finally putting themselves first, something is being restored. Something that was slowly and quietly being taken from you is starting to find its way back. Your thoughts begin to belong to you again. You start to notice how much mental space had been occupied by managing this person, anticipating their moods, rehearsing conversations, replaying interactions, trying to decode what was real and what was performance. And as that weight begins to lift, you realize for the first time how heavy it actually was. You had been carrying it for so long that you stopped feeling it as a burden and started feeling it as normal. But normal was never what you were designed for. You were designed for peace. You were designed for clarity. You were designed for relationships that fill you rather than ones that require you to be perpetually emptied in order to be accepted. Your intuition begins to return. That spiritual radar, the one they spent so much time convincing you was broken, was dramatic, was too much, starts to come back online with a precision that will quietly astonish you. You begin to trust yourself again, in small ways first, a feeling here, a boundary there, a moment where you listen to the discomfort instead of overriding it, and you realize it was right. It has always been right. The instrument was never broken. It was simply being jammed by someone who needed you not to hear it clearly. Your energy begins to return. And this is perhaps the most sacred part of what changes, because chosen ones who have been in these dynamics often forget what their own energy actually feels like. They have given so much for so long to someone who never reciprocated in kind that they begin to believe that exhaustion is simply their natural state, that running on empty is just what love requires. But as the days pass and the distance grows, something begins to refill, not all at once. Not in a rush, but steadily, quietly, the way water finds its own level, you begin to feel like yourself again. And feeling like yourself again, after a long time of feeling like a version of yourself that someone else needed you to be, that is not a small thing. That is a resurrection. The people in your life begin to notice before you do. They see the light coming back into your eyes. They hear something different in your voice, less careful, less measured, less like someone who has learned to edit themselves in real time before speaking. They feel you arriving fully into conversations instead of halfway, the other half still hostage to someone else's emotional weather. And slowly, through their reflections, you begin to see it too. Your purpose begins to clarify. Because that is the other thing that these dynamics steal from chosen ones, and it is perhaps the most strategically devastating theft of all. When you are constantly pouring your energy into managing, surviving, and making sense of a connection that was designed to confuse you, you have nothing left for the thing you were actually sent here to do. Your gifts sit dormant. Your vision stays blurry. Your calling feels distant and almost embarrassing to think about, because you are so depleted that dreaming feels like a luxury you cannot afford. But the moment you walk away and the energy starts coming back, the calling comes back with it, louder than before, more urgent than before, as if it was waiting patiently just outside the door of that situation, knowing that the moment you were free, you would finally be ready to answer it. Not just because the algorithm needs it, but because this message needs to reach the people who truly need it today. Because somewhere out there, a chosen one is sitting alone, still giving chances to someone who was never worthy of even one, still making excuses for someone who has none left to make, still pouring from a cup that has been empty for longer than they want to admit. And maybe this video, just this one video, is the thing that finally gives them the courage to listen to their own voice. Subscribe to this channel because this is not just content. This is not just another page you scroll past and forget. This is a place where chosen ones come when the world does not understand them. This is a place where your sensitivity is not called a problem, where your depth is not called dramatic, where your ability to feel everything so deeply, the thing that has been used against you so many times, is finally called what it has always truly been.